All right, SG.
Yes.
We've got the Back to Basics putting segment now. Back to Basics putting segment, one of the sponsors of the podcast. It's a putting mirror designed by Richard Woodhouse and Grant Field, used by Cam Smith. It's got a 15-degree putting arc on it. TM15 below for 15% off your order. Support those who support the podcast. In the Back to Basics putting segment, SG, have you got a putting tip or putting exercise that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I find the biggest challenge, like when I'm working with better players, it seems the 7 to 12 foot range is what tends to stand out to me the most, because I feel like they can do a lot of stuff indoors and hit it in the putting mat inside of that, say, 7 foot range, and they're only having to aim right edge, left edge to make that work on the golf course, which they can manage pretty well. The 7 to 12 I feel like is really, really tricky. And because for most, the stats start to shift at less than 50%. Yeah. So I created something during COVID, which was I guess you could call it a little like putting test or a little challenge, which would be 18 holes. I would have distances with slopes on them. So we'll say a 7 foot, 8 foot, basically for 18 holes. I'd have strokes gained at the end. And they literally just had to mark what they felt like they ticked and what they crossed on that putt. So that might look like start line, green reading speed. And so they hit the first putt. Let's say the read was good. The ball started on line. Maybe they put a marker there so they can see where the ball starts, or a gate if they want to do that. But they go through the read.
Yep.
Okay, they hit the start line, which a lot of good golfers will do. The ball travels on the high side and finishes, we'll say 2.5 foot past. Okay, speed miss, long. So we have a tick-tick cross, essentially. So we have a tick on the read. We have a tick on the start line. We have a tick on the read, and we have a cross on the speed, which was long. So we just go through that process for 18 holes, and we see a pattern. We often would see a speed pattern, short, long. And in a lot of cases, which is where I really like this drill, we see a read pattern miss. So, left to rights are constantly missing, let's say high side and vice versa. So that helps me to be a lot more specific with information. And even stats sheets, I should say stats program that we use often don't have that level of detail. And that just, again, helps me to go straight to the source of what I need to focus on with that student. So students can create that, and they could write that up I can even send it to them if they want, have that sheet on a PDF, but you could literally put that in your phone and do that a couple of times a week, and you'll see patterns that this coach can help you with straight away.
I love that. It's an interesting statistic that pops up on Draw More Circles, isn't it? Is that 7 to 12 feet. It's just, it's a big problem area for a lot of golfers in regards to, their goals. It really sticks out. I really like that. It's really, really good way. Once again, we're measuring, right, aren't we? Yeah. And we're finding out, because when someone says to you that, I suck at 7 to 12 feet, statistics show me, let's get a little bit more detail at it. Sure. Is it speed? Is it left to right? Is it right to left? Is it downhill? Is it uphill? At least this way here we can measure it a little bit better, because you don't just suck. You do some stuff really, really well. There's just probably a problem area there that's hurting it. You might be 20% on the left to righters and 60% on the right to lefters. You're good. So let's just bring that left to righter up.
Yeah, and as a coach, we can take them on the green, do that for 10 holes, watch their start line, and just note that down for them. It's going to take 20 minutes, and then we have all the data there ready to go.
Fantastic. I love it. Well, mate, thanks for giving us that tip there on the Back to Basics putting segment. Support those who support the podcast. Lots of people are purchasing them, Steve. I see the email notifications coming through, and you get 15% discount. It comes in a nice little case. To me, if you're a coach, right, or you're a player, I'm going to say right now, there is no better training aid than a mirror on the ground, because you are getting direct feedback in how that putter should be swinging, right, relative to where you want it to be, without having to use any crazy technology. Sure. You can just you can put your phone on top and identify and get immediate feedback to where you need to be. So I think it's crazy. Harrison Endicott was talking about using one and how he was he first got one. He had all the tees on the outside, and he was ding 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 ding, right. Knocking all the tees, trying to get through the thing, right? And this PGA Tour player playing the Australian Open at the time, right? So, you're not going to get better feedback, and I think it's an absolute no-brainer. And if you're a coach and you're going to a putting green and you're giving a putting lesson. We know we're running to the putting green. What's this guy going to do? Chuck your mirror down, get your tripod out, and just use it as a baseline. And it helps identify when you show people on a camera, it's like, oh, your putter's coming really far in. Well, they can see it because the green line is showing them it's not.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right. So support those and support the podcast. Thanks for that tip there in the Back to Basics putting segment.